and welcome. This is False Start, a college football podcast for everyone and everyone else. I'm your host, John Buhler, lead writer for Fansided. I'm joined today by a man who knows how to attend fall weddings, who knows how to officiate fall weddings, but I think his best trait is just responding to my three segmented response here to start every show. Cody Williams, content director, fansided.com. It's early, brother. How are you?
It is early, and as someone who is referred to as, quote, the drunk reverend quite often this weekend, I'm doing good, feeling better, feeling some energized, but wish I had a little bit more sleep under my belt. How you doing?
Sleep deprived as well. Watched a terrible Falcons game. I swear, like
Hmm.
every time we think they're gonna make a move and be really good, Zach Robinson's like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Stillwater and ride a pack of dogs.
Oh, 100%. I think Gator might have been calling the offense on Sunday night.
Might as well have been. And I mean, you are the god of wine, brother.
That's absolutely correct.
I say a little prayer for you here, but yeah, I'm glad to have you back on the show. You missed a exciting week, and
Yeah.
can't believe Georgia won.
Yeah, it was from everything I saw, it was a very non-Georgia game script way of winning.
It's not been fun watching this team. It's just Glenn Schumann just takes a dump in a bag in the first
Yeah.
half, and then Kirby Smart cleans him up and puts him in his jammies and sends him to bed, and then sends the other team to bed too. Really bad day for visors for Pete Golding, who didn't stop Georgia one time.
Yeah, it'll happen. I do like from what I've seen again, like I do want to shout out Gunnar Stockton. Like I'm not sure he's an NFL quarterback, but he's a damn fun college quarterback, man.
It's Stetson Bennett 2.0. Gotta love it.
You absolutely do. It's Mike Bobo's wet dream for sure.
But I don't know if this is Mike Bobo's wet dream, but it might be Kirby Smart's wet dream. We obviously false started here, and like it is on pretty much every Monday episode or Sunday episode, we're gonna do He Gone. Billy Napier is out at Florida after a win. I wrote something for Badger of Honor where he did something that Luke Fickell could never do, which is to get fired after a conference win because Luke Fickell hasn't scored a point since we last potted.
Yeah, not going well in Madison. Certainly not going great in Gainesville. I mean, I this feels like a decision that was made probably around the USF loss, if we're being honest. And like
Yeah.
they just had to get your I's dotted and your T's crossed before you got there. And I don't think either of us are surprised by any stretch of the imagination. We knew this was coming eventually. And I like with the reports that were coming out last week, it definitely felt like the Mississippi State game did not matter. They wanted to get through it, but it did not matter. They were just trying to get to the bye week and get to the cocktail party with a new regime in place.
Yeah, it's going to be wide receivers coach Billy Gonzalez taking over in the interim for the final five games for the Gators. They still got to play Ole Miss. They still got to play Georgia. They got to play Tennessee too. So yeah, it's not looking super promising there in Gainesville. You do have a bye to figure this all out, and there's another termination over the weekend. Jay Norvell, the other Norvell, is out at Colorado State, and there's a good chance that we might see Mike Norvell out at Florida State before the end of the day here on Monday.
Yeah, I mean we unfortunately have to record at this time, but like we were hoping that the Mike Norvell news would drop before 7:30 Eastern time when we are recording, but unfortunately not. But yeah, Jay Norvell is out, and you look back at honestly the Jay Norvell thing surprises me a little bit. With it when he was at Nevada, it felt like he ran that program almost like pretty damn close to peak efficiency. And you would have thought that Colorado State, a little bit more resources, a little bit more geographically advantageous, like he would have been able to take advantage of that job and really make Colorado State, a force in the Mountain West. And it just hasn't happened. It's been ugly for a couple of years now.
Yeah, you mentioned how it went for him at Nevada, like outside of running at the apex of what Chris Alt did for years there, and
Yeah.
became a Hall of Fame level coach. That's effectively what he did for the Wolfpack. And again, you brought up a point because you're a little more of a sicko than me. It's like, yeah, the way that he left Reno and went to Fort Collins, like it was pretty surprising. It was pretty jarring, and it was very acrimonious, if you
Hmm.
will. And I think that what Colorado State we were very high on them coming in. Like we didn't have them
Yeah.
necessarily on the same level as Boise State or UNLV,
No.
but we looked at them similarly as Fresno, and apparently Hawaii has taken their spot in the Mountain
Yeah.
West for that. But he got Colorado State to a bowl game, and I think that was like their first bowl appearance since what Bobo was their coach, which is
Right.
kind of shocking. I think part of it too is what they're 2-5, but I think people hated Jay Norvell. Like there was,
Yeah.
I think Ollie Vandervoort shared this over over the NCAA division Slack. He said, "Did Jay Norvell find out he got fired via email? Because that's how all of his assistants did previously."
Oh man, that's brutal. But no, I mean, like you think back on like again, I'm not going to say here and tell you I was right about this because I was not. I thought Jay Norvell, like despite how everything went, I still thought it would work. I thought he was a good enough head coach for it to work. But I mean, you look back at his Colorado State tenure, you look back at his Nevada tenure, like there's a lot of people he rubbed the wrong way. Like there,
Yeah.
like. And some of them were obvious, like him and Deion Sanders did not get along
No.
very well. But I mean, like outside of that, like there were still a lot of other people that kind of seemed to come out of that program. And then you also think back to, some of his players' comments when they were coming into games. And it wasn't necessarily like direct shots at his coach, but it did make you wonder a little bit about what's going on in the building. Like it just seemed like it was a very tension-filled building there.
Yeah, I just think it got to the point where like, you know what, we're bad enough. We don't like this guy as a person. Let's move
Yeah.
on and try to get ahead of this. Because I mean, I think that's what the third non-power forward job. It's hard to define what Oregon State is. So it's the
Yeah.
second
Power four and a
uh,
half.
power 4.5. If you want to count Kent State in there too, with them moving on from Kenny Barnes during the offseason, it's like now Colorado State and UAB. And I don't know if you saw this. Andy Staples of On Three, one of our personal heroes,
Mhm.
said perfect candidate for them actually exists, but he's coaching in the Big Ten right now. That's UCLA interim head coach Tim Skipper, who was the interim previously at Fresno State. They didn't give him the job at his alma mater. I think he'd do really, really well. And I guess it would be the new Pac-12 potentially, but he
Mhm.
might just stay at UCLA.
Yeah, I mean, he might at this point with the way UCLA is running, didn't, go as planned at the end of the game on Saturday, but UCLA is cooking in a way that I did not think they were capable of, quite frankly. Like I didn't know this was possible. And real big indictment of Deshaun Foster. Think you made the right move moving on there, Bruins.
Yeah, we knew they had talent. I didn't have the right head coach. I saw somewhere UCLA controls its own playoff destiny because they can go 8-1 and get to the Big Ten championship.
We love that. We love that.
So if we've kind of got an idea with what may happen at Colorado State, let's kind of go back to Florida here. I was kind of like helping out Ben Henderson on Sunday. He was kicking and screaming and watching Billy Napier get fired while he was coaching 8-year-old soccer. So I had to publish a bunch of his stuff on Hail Florida Hail.
That sounds like a personal hell. That sounds so awful.
He was saying like it was a very surreal moment. Like he's like, I'm dealing with a bunch of 8-year-olds screaming at soccer tournaments, and my least favorite head coach of all time is gone. That man, that man hated Billy Napier more than I hated Dan Quinn in Atlanta,
Yeah,
or
100%.
Glenn Schumann, or maybe almost Luke Fickle now. But I'm not even tied to the Wisconsin program. But you do this move to effectively get out ahead of it and say, hey, we've got a vacancy. I think Brett McMurphy of On3 said this is the best opening right now, potentially.
Yeah, I
Florida's a
would say
hard
so.
job. Yeah, Florida's a hard job. But I think the top candidate for them is Lane Kiffin,
Mhm.
maybe Eli Drinkwitz, but I don't necessarily know if this is the best job.
No, I mean it is a job that I think the likes of some of the greatest college football coaches we've ever seen ruined a little bit for the Florida fan base and any Florida future head coach. You have Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer,
Yeah,
it being the two that I'm talking about there. And like Florida is always going to have that upside, but it is very difficult to get to that upside. And like I'm not saying that Florida should be complacent with what Billy Napier is doing because they should not be. They
no,
absolutely should not be. But they might need to be a little realistic with themselves with their next head coach, especially if you're going after a Lane Kiffin, especially if you're going after an Eli Drinkwitz, and look at the situation and realize like, hey man, 10-2 is actually a pretty damn good season at Florida in this SEC. Hey, 9-3 is actually a pretty good season at this in this SEC. Like the expectation at Florida cannot be national championship or bust. And like it's something that multiple SEC programs have to realize. This just happens to be one that is now looking for a new head coach.
I think the other thing that's really challenging is I think you and I both know effectively what they need to hire. They need to hire a proven SEC head coach because I mean
Yes.
they tried that 2 times ago in Dan Mullen and it didn't work.
Right.
So we've mentioned Lane Kiffin, we've mentioned Eli Drinkwitz. Gus Malzahn could conceivably be available after this year at Florida State as their OC. But some of the best candidates are in the G5. They won't go hire a guy. Like they're not going to go after John Summerall. They're not going to
Right.
go after Gainesville native Ryan Silverfield at Memphis. And probably the best candidate for them is probably Alex Golesh. And I think that that probably has them at least like tempered expectations. Like we're not going to go in that direction.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's the, you don't date someone who's exactly like the girl you just broke up with. Like that's really what it boils down to, which is but Billy Napier coming from the G5 and who was also like, I mean, Alex Golesh literally has the Billy Napier pathway, was a P4 offensive coordinator and then got a G5 job and then ended up at Florida. And like that, you're not going to do that again.
I just think like the other thing is I think Lane Kiffin's going to get an extension here at Ole Miss very soon.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this. They had a picture of Lane walking into Sanford Stadium on Saturday afternoon. Guess who was right behind him? Walking like I don't walk beside people. I always walk behind.
Yeah.
It's one of my worst traits as a human being.
I get it, man.
Um, but yeah, Jimmy Sexton was in Athens.
Oh,
So
oh, oh, yeah. We know what's happening, baby.
oh God. So if you can't, I guess we'll tie a bow on this before we get to Norvell. Mike Norvell, not Jay
Yeah,
Norvell.
yeah, yeah.
If it's not if it's not Kiffin and it's not Drink, and it's not Malzahn, like where do you go for Florida?
I think in a world where Florida has to maybe temper expectations a little bit, I think I would not call Jeff Lebby. I would not give him a call. Like, I understand Mississippi State, they're kind of falling back to earth a little bit, but like, still a team that's a lot better than it was 2 years ago when he took it over. Still a
Yeah.
program that is devoid of a lot of the resources that Florida can absolutely give him. If you want to talk about potentially keeping DJ Lagway in Gainesville, which I think is something you probably should be really considering doing. How about someone who gets his quarterbacks to put up big numbers and who knows how to run an offense at a really high level? Now, I would like to see Levy kind of let maybe get someone like Charlie Weiss Jr. in there to help him run the offense so he's able to be more of a CEO type. But I think Levy would probably be my like tier 2 guy that I would probably target first.
I'm glad you didn't say Bobby Petrino and bankrupt your soul for the head.
No, no, not yet. I mean, for the content, absolutely do it. Please, God.
The other guy out there is, with SEC ties is James Franklin from his tie at
Hmm.
Vanderbilt. That's a possibility. I kind of think he might go to Wisconsin.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. I would love to have him in Chapel Hill. Still going to bang
Yeah.
that drum. Please, God. James Franklin and Chapel Hill would work very, very well. Um, but yeah, I don't see James Franklin returning to the SEC. And also, one of the things, kind of like talking about all of these jobs that are opening, whether it's Penn State, whether it's Florida, whoever we're talking about. I want to give Vanderbilt a shout out because like we're not mentioning Clark Lee's name for any of these jobs. And like 2 years ago, if Clark Lee had Vanderbilt doing this, we would have been like, oh yeah, well he's gone. But like he seems like he's like dead set on staying at Vandy, which is really cool.
I mean, he's at his alma mater, Vanderbilt's
Yeah.
F and turn. I get all that. It's funny. I think James Franklin would actually work there in North Carolina. That guy can schmooze and pander like the most schmoozing and pandering charlatan of all time.
The wine and cheese university could use a man who knows a little thing about wine and cheese.
I mean, if it doesn't work out, he can always go work in a bank.
That's right, 100%. Welcome to Truist. How can I help you with your home loan today?
That's right, brother. And I guess with Mike Norvell, it's got to end here. I called it; they were going to lose at night at
Yeah,
Stanford.
yeah.
Chewing out his players, his play. Uh, what did Nick Rome put in the chat just now? Because I don't think that guy sleeps. I don't know what he
Yeah,
does.
he's constantly in the chat. It's unbelievable.
Granted, this was at 11 o'clock last night, and I already went to bed. But he said it was after the Stanford loss. A source close to CBS Sports said that players were cracking jokes in the locker room about having to respond yet again. Respond is a word that Mike Norvell likes to use all the time when losses mount.
He's been using the word respond quite a lot of late. So not great. Not what you want. Yeah, it definitely feels like Mike Norvell is not the culture builder, not the I mean it seems like he's lost the locker room, point blank. Like it just seems like they do not care at this point. And it's a tough scene. Like you started off the year so hopefully, and we talked about it a few weeks ago. Like it wasn't necessarily a case where they needed to make the college football playoff to like make this worthwhile, to make this rebound something that help not just could help Mike Norvell keep his job, but to keep the fan base happy. Like 7, 8, 9 wins would have surely done that, regardless if you're in the playoff or not. And now you have one ACC win in the past 2 years. Like you
Yeah.
have just let this crater in a way that is purely a reflection on you because this team, like last year's team, I could understand how things snowballed a little bit. DJU looked awful. DJU was reportedly maybe hurt a little bit last year, but even with that, like you come into this year, you have Tommy Castellanos, you have a big transfer portal class to try to rebound, and it's the same thing. It's the same story. Like it may be a word he likes to use a lot, but his team's not responding. They haven't responded in like almost 2 years now.
No, you got to respond. You got to be responsible. You got to take
Yeah.
responsibility here. And look, you upgraded in the three most important areas year over year at quarterback, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator. I think we could probably say to a T that Tommy Castellanos is better than DJU, that Gus Malzahn is better than Alex Atkins, and that Tony White is most certainly better than Adam Fuller. Like
Oh
that
yeah,
was,
100%.
and I guess like my two points here before we kind of talk about like where do they go from here is I think when you build, you mentioned it perfectly. Like he's not necessarily a great culture builder, and he built a lot of his teams through the portal. Florida
Hmm.
State is a traditional power because it develops players, from Florida and
Hmm.
South Georgia and Alabama and things like that. Anywhere that touches Florida's borders, they go get those
Right.
players. But when you have a team that's built on the portal, like it's very flimsy. It can, what kind of foundation are you actually building it on? It's like building it on some type of cryptocurrency not named Ethereum.
No, it truly, and like it's one of the reasons why I look at Lane Kiffin and I say he's one of the best coaches in college football because like he's one of the very, very, very few who is able to do it. Like he can build a team largely through the portal and do so while maintaining a culture. And that's not something everyone's able to do. And Mike Norvell is definitely one of the ones who's not able to do that.
I mean, look at how great that like Norvell hit the portal and Mel Tucker hit the portal. And obviously Mel Tucker had scandal, but like it collapsed in on them both very, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, Mel Tucker had scandal. That scandal also probably came to light because they were looking for a reason to get him the hell out of there because it was going south real quick. Like you're not going to convince me that Michigan State was unaware of that at the time.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that because I want to keep this show
But I know
going.
I know exactly where you're going with it, and I'm sure a lot of our starters do as
They,
well.
they do as well. I think the other thing with Mike Norvell is you have another head coach on your team in Gus Malzahn, and you have
Yeah,
a future head coach, possibly the next head coach of the UCLA Bruins and former Bruins star Tony White.
right.
And would it shock you if they moved on from them, they named Malzahn the interim, they turned it around, they go something like 7-5, and he gets to keep the job?
Dude, let's break it down, boys. That's what I'm
Let's
saying.
break
Like,
it down, boys.
let's break it down, boys, in Tallahassee. Like, I mean, no, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, it truly seems like this team just needs a kick in the ass. That's what it truly seems like at this point. And like I think that kick in the ass can be as simple as getting someone new in charge. Like it's like when you have at this point it almost feels like when you have like a substitute teacher and the kids are a
Right.
little unruly at this point. When the teacher comes back, you gotta nip some things in the bud.
Yeah, you gotta smack some wrists with rulers and stuff. Get really primal with this stuff.
Exactly. Catholic teaching, baby.
Catholic teaching baby. So if Malzahn will have options because Arkansas is
Yeah.
open. He's from Arkansas. I mean, you bring him back at Auburn, maybe.
No, I do not, but you could.
Um, I'm just trying to think. I don't think Mark Stoops would work just because he's completely lost the ability to offense. My God, did you see what Bush Hamden did?
Yeah.
Tech is unbelievable.
Brother, absolutely brutal stuff out there.
I think the best coaching candidate for Florida State is John Summerall. I don't know if he takes it.
What if I understand the Mike Norvell ties? However, you could sell it to the fan base. Let's think about the last time Florida State was really, really cooking. Would you consider Alex Galesh? Because I would.
Yeah, and I mean, you'd have to consider Golesh. You'd have to consider Brian Silverfield at some point too, I
Hmm.
think. But like, what out there in the P4 is gonna fix Norvell? And I mean, even hiring a bunch of G5 coaches as it is anyway, with like Willie
Sure.
Taggart and what have you. I mean, he was at Oregon for a year, but nobody that wasn't real.
It wasn't great either at all.
Speaking about great but wasn't real, Dragons and John Cena.
That's right.
Ricky's
You can't even
Ricky
see one of them.
Snicky, Ricky
Like,
Snicky,
yeah, that's
legend.
right. That's right.
He played himself in a movie. What a time. Alex Galesh, yeah, I think this is his last year in Tampa. I just don't know what team he's going to take over. I do kind of feel it's going to be in the southeastern footprint. Then again, he could go anywhere, man.
Yeah.
The man's a legend.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if Auburn were to fire Hugh Freeze, like I think Alex Glesh at Auburn could work really well.
Yeah, I think that one's good, but I have an impossible time moving on from Eli Drinkwitz. I think that's the perfect fit for that.
Yeah, I do too. I guess I'm at the point where I don't know if Eli wants to leave Missouri. And like that's kind of the big thing. Like that's kind of like if Eli doesn't want to go.
Regardless if he goes or doesn't go, let's move on to our next topic here with Stephen B. Swift's second take.
Yes, sir.
Our thoughts on the latest AP Top 25 poll. It was unbelievable this week. So I'm gonna rattle them off 1 through 25. We'll break them down in quintiles.
Let's
Number
do it.
one, Ohio State, two, Indiana, three, Texas A&M, four, Alabama, five, Georgia, 6 through 10, six, Oregon, seven, Georgia Tech, eight, Ole Miss, nine, Miami, 10, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's a top 10 team. 11 through 15, BYU, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, and Missouri. 16 through 20, Virginia, Tennessee, South Florida, Louisville, and LSU. And rounding out the top 25, 21 Cincinnati, 22 Texas, 23 Illinois, 24 Arizona State, 25 Michigan, USC didn't even get 100 votes.
Tough break for the Trojans. Also, shouts out to the number 21 team in the country, Cincinnati. Sure. Didn't realize we were going to be here. But the biggest shout out I want to give is I believe this is Vanderbilt's first time in the top 10 since the 1940s. So hell yeah, we love that.
We'll get to Vanderbilt here in a second. So the top five, I think those are the right teams in the top five. I would put Alabama ahead of Texas A&M.
Yeah, I understand where like I think Alabama is a better team than Texas A&M. That will be reflected here shortly. But like I do think that this comes down to kind of when you talk about AP voters, you have the smarter. I don't even want to say smarter. I'm not trying to be insulting, but you have the voters who vote by record and resume, and you have the voters who vote by quality of team. And like when you mix that together, you're gonna have a lot of love for a team that still has a zero in the loss column after 7 games. And like that's what Texas A&M. So like I understand where they're coming from, but I do think Alabama is definitely the better team.
Yeah, I said that on 3 yards in the cloud of punt on Saturday night after the stupidest Missouri Auburn game of all time. It was so dumb.
Yeah,
So dumb.
100%. 100%.
It was so fitting that like the game ended on a Jackson Arnold trying to throw the ball on fourth and forever to his tackle.
Yeah, I mean, just Hugh Freeze, just way too deep in his bag. Like he has the Hermione Granger bag where it's just like never ending, and he's like got his full arm in
Uh,
it.
arms deep in Hermione Granger's bag.
Amen, brother. Amen.
We've already said some things on this show. I would say this, and if I want to include Oregon in here, I said this, I guess Oregon and the teams that are in the top five, those teams all have 75% or better
Hmm.
chances of making the playoff. Like at this juncture, those six teams feel like essentially the closest thing to locks as we can have. Probably the closest thing is Ohio State and Indiana, but like the next four teams, all right there too.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, yeah, Ohio State and Indiana, they're gonna waltz into the college football playoff at this rate. They might still be 1-2 regardless of who wins in Indianapolis at this point.
Doesn't matter. They're both going to be one.
Yeah, right, 100%. Just they're both they're hosting each other at the same field.
All right, 6 through 10. I got a few thoughts here. I think Georgia Tech at seven is ridiculously
Yeah.
high,
Hmm.
and I think Miami should have been dogged even more than nine in some capacities.
I was just gonna say, I don't get many things right, but I did call that on as a trap game
You
for
did,
the
man.
U, and there we are, Carson Beck showing up with his four interceptions.
Yeah, blaming one guy in the fourth one. That was.
Mhm.
Uh, I love working with Josh Harris, but he loves some stats, just trying to prove points. He says that Carson Beck's a better quarterback than Gunnar Stockton. Efficiency wise, I'm like, it doesn't matter. That was in 2023. Carson Beck does crap like this. He hasn't been the
So,
same player for 2 years.
and here's the thing, man. It's like, you know me, I'm a stats guy as well. Like
Yeah.
I love the numbers and like by the numbers, yeah, Carson Beck's a way better quarterback than Gunnar Stockton is. But I also like my good ass eyes. And like my good ass eyes tell me that I would much rather have Gunnar Stockton in a big moment than I would Carson Beck.
Yeah, the gunner is he's just a bad. He's just running. He's playing like what I thought Lenore Sellers could be this year, but Mike
Yeah.
Shula decided to ruin that for everybody.
Yeah, 100%. Mike Shula's he's on my Steve Buscemi Billy Madison list, like honestly. Like that's where we're at with him. I can't believe you ruined one of my favorite things about college football.
Like I'd shoot out Mike Shula and Bush Hampton for just two atrociously called games in SEC
Yeah.
play. Like John Batier can't throw the ball anymore, and you
No,
still got
like he's got a brick for a hand. Like that's where we're at right now.
dude. He's got like Gene Upshaw clubs on his hands
Yeah,
right
that's what I'm
now.
saying, man. It's not but I do want to say like I think like I'm happy for Vanderbilt being in the top 10. I believe 1948, I believe was the year, like right after World War II was the last time they were ranked in the top 10. They should be higher. Like
Yeah,
there's
I
no
think so.
like this team is one loss in the season, and you played actually when you look back at it, a pretty daunting SEC schedule to this point. Your one loss was a close loss that got, a late touchdown made look worse against the number three team in the country. Like Vanderbilt's like the number seven team in the country. Like they should be ranked ahead of Georgia Tech.
They should be flipped with Georgia Tech, and I'm
Yeah.
good with Georgia Tech being a top 10 team
Yeah,
because I
100%.
think Georgia Tech has shown an ability to win games where lesser teams would lose. They're very clutch in the fourth quarter and really well coached. And I'll always give them credit. Don't play a very tough schedule. We'll see what happens there in clean old-fashioned hate at the Big Body Bends. I
Hmm.
think the last day of November. But yeah, Georgia Tech's firing all cylinders. I'm not ruling out the fact that they might actually win the ACC because you and I both know. And you mentioned this with the Louisville trap game for Miami. You can see it from a mile away. You can spot it. You know when Miami's going to lose. We called it to Georgia Tech last year. We called it 2 years ago. And honestly, we both called the Syracuse loss a year ago as well. And you
Hmm.
called
Hmm.
this one. So
Yeah.
you know another one or two is coming, right?
It feels like it. I like it's one of those things where you just know the signs, and like playing on a Friday is the first sign. Like Mario needs 7 days to get the square peg in the round hole. Like he needs 7 days for it. You can't do it in 6 days. You need seven. And having to go on the road to Louisville and do that, like you see the signs. I do think that one thing about Mario Cristobal that I do truly believe, though, is when we've seen him in some of the biggest games in Miami's schedule, particularly this year with this roster, Miami's shown up in a really big way. And Miami's been dominant in some of those cases as well. I think if they avoid another landmine and they were to get to the ACC championship game, I think they get it done in Charlotte. Like that's kind of where I'm at with that.
So looking at their final 6 games, there is another trap game. It will present itself at some point. I think you beat Stanford at home this weekend. You could lose at SMU. You're probably going to beat Syracuse and NC State at home. Probably going to beat at Virginia Tech. I think the game at the end of the season at Pitt scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean it absolutely should. Like
Yeah,
Pitt is I mean Pitt and Louisville are not dissimilar, quite frankly.
no. And I think give Narduzzi credit from pivoting from
Mhm.
Eli Holstein to Mason Heinschel. And Heinchel's apparently like ridiculously good.
Yeah, I mean he's got a little calandria in him, which
Yeah.
I always like.
Calandria is 6-0, man. His
Yeah,
former team is six wins too. That's
you can't say that I don't know how to pick him, man. The Whoopsie Daisy King is out here just thriving, and we're going to talk about the college football playoff bracket a little more here shortly, but shouts to UNLV, man, because like no one's really talking about the fact that they're undefeated. No one's really talking about the fact that they still have a very real chance of making the college football playoff. It is not remotely out of the question.
I think they lost to Boise State this past weekend, but
Oh,
like they
that's
could.
right.
But regardless, Boise State just has the number. It's like Alabama has Georgia's
Yeah.
number. They can win the Mountain West. We may see some chaos there in the American. I'm
Yeah.
not crossing the Rebels out from potentially making the playoff.
No, no, you can't.
That's okay. We're doing firing all cylinders here. Ole Miss at 8. I don't know if they can beat anybody really good. I don't really think very highly of LSU, but I was thinking about this. This is almost a do Haas or do Haas for today.
Mm,
Does Ole Miss have to win out to make the playoff? Because I think if you lose to Oklahoma, you don't have a resume.
I think that's probably fair. I think you definitely have to beat Oklahoma, but then you take another one of those losses if you were to lose though. Like I would probably say, yeah, you probably have to if you're Ole Miss, which is not necessarily fair because there's a lot of other teams that don't have to go 11-1 to make the playoff, but like that might be the position that Ole Miss is in with when you're playing the one of the weakest schedules in the SEC.
Because at that point, you gotta be vying for like that fourth SEC spot with
Yeah.
like the Vanderbilts and the Tennessees of the world, and maybe Mizzou potentially, which I think they're kind of fraudulent, but that's okay.
Yeah, they probably are, but I mean, like you mentioned a Vanderbilt team. Like Vanderbilt's already more battle tested than freaking Ole Miss is at this point.
Yeah, Voltax was acting up, so John Mitchell and I at Bama Hammer said we blamed it on Pete Golding because he can't stop a nosebleed.
No, no, 100%. I mean, like there's a reason Pete Golding's not at Alabama anymore. Let's be real.
Yeah, they ran him out of town. So 11 through 15, BYU just might be good, and Notre Dame's not going away. I'm a little concerned about Texas Tech after losing to Arizona State. I kind of feel like how are they going to
Hmm.
respond when they get punched in the mouth? But again, I have no idea who's going to win the Big 12. I don't think it's going to be Utah because they've lost head to
Yeah.
head to both BYU and Texas Tech.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be Utah. I still think Utah's a good team, but I don't like it doesn't look like it's going to be them. My like with Texas Tech losing to Arizona State, the only thought I had was, damn, we really are going to have to do the Big 12 tiebreakers again, huh? Like we're going to have to go through
Yeah.
this all over again. And I BYU, I think, is a very good football team. Bear Bachmeier is obviously very, very talented, but with the way they run him, with the way he plays, I worry a little bit that they're going to be kind of like last year's Iowa State, where you just take too many body blows, and then when you get down the stretch, like those start to pile up a little bit. And also, I mean, they're head to head against Texas Tech in 2 weeks or 3 weeks,
Yeah,
excuse me. So
that's very true here. But I think the fact they don't have a loss in the loss column right
yeah,
now serves them.
neither does Cincinnati in Big 12 play.
No, they don't. Their only loss is neutral site affair at Arrowhead with uh, Pat, Trav, and Tay watching.
Shouts to PJ Fleck in the sweater vest, though. We love
Uh,
that.
who doesn't love that? Yeah, dude, like there's like 10 teams still in it in the Big 12.
Oh, dude, it's like literally. I promise you, that was my like. I was, it was post wedding, so you can probably, guess my mental state at the time. But I just was looking over results, and I was like, "Oh no, Big 12 tiebreakers! They're looming. They're like popping their ugly head up and just staring at me."
I mean, outside of West Virginia and Oklahoma State, how many teams can we definitively cross off in the Big 12?
Not many, man. Not many at all.
No, you could probably get maybe like three or four more. That's about
Yeah, like
it.
yeah, I would probably cross off Colorado, but like,
Yeah,
yeah,
Colorado. I don't know. Does Kansas State's still probably not good. Whoever loses this weekend, where we're going for Antonio
that's
for some
right.
sunflower. Gotta go back to Potter Lake. It's his mecca.
It is. You got to pay homage.
Yeah. You got anything else from 11 through 15? You want to move on to 16 through 20?
Let's go on to 16 through 20.
Virginia's not going away,
Hmm.
and I don't think Tennessee's a playoff team. And I really don't think LSU is, and I think they got to fire Brian Kelly.
Yeah, you know, I, I I think they probably should fire Brian Kelly. It's not. I mean, like the Vanderbilt game wasn't ugly. That was one of the few games I was able to get like good eyes on Saturday and in the early slate before wedding festivities really kicked in. And LSU didn't play a bad game, man. They
No.
just it very much feels like Brian Kelly. It's not that he doesn't have a culture. It's not that he's lost the locker room. It's that he's just not. It's honestly an upgraded version. It's not as bad or as egregious, but it feels a lot like Luke Fickell in Wisconsin in some ways, where you're trying to make something work in your image when the image of the program is what you need to try to be filling.
You've seen the movie School of Rock?
Oh yeah, 100%. Many times.
Principal Mullins. That's Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
Whereas like, he's trying to she's a really tough guy that's trying to like loosen up, but
Hmm.
they've got such a reputation of scaring people. And
Yes.
Brian Kelly's drinking a beer at 11 o'clock at night to Edge of 17 by Stevie Nicks, just like the wide winged.
Bro, you know Brian Kelly loves Stevie Nicks too. You know that's true.
Dude, he loves Skull Rock. He's like, this is awesome, man.
This is great.
This
Eating
is
his shrimp poor boy sandwich, you know.
because he coaches like tight, and it's the same sort of thing, kind of with like the Falcons being owned by Arthur Blank, where you kind of feel like you're on pins and needles. You're
Hmm.
playing tight like the Falcons did, and I see it in Garrett Nussmeier every time, and he scares the hell out of me as an NFL quarterback prospect. I think he will go in the first round because of the skills, but on the Stafford to Bortles scale, it's looking very Justin Herberty right now, and I don't like that.
I do think that like I'm still a believer in Nussmeier as like a prospect and talent because I do think a lot of it is LSU based, Brian Kelly based, and this honestly could work out for him because if you fall to someone like the Rams, I think he's
Yeah,
going to be just fine. Like watching Sean McVay work with those tools, I think we'll be all right.
but if you go to the Dolphins, you're not going to be all right.
No, well, what I don't know. Who knows who the head coach is going to be because Mike McDaniel's is burnt toast at this point.
He might get fired. But guess what? The Falcons play the Dolphins next week, so that's good for me.
We love that. We love that. You
We love
might get to play against Quinn Ewers. We'll see what happens.
Zach Harrison might actually break. Oh man. And then I guess if you've got some thoughts about I guess I got some thoughts about maybe Virginia and Louisville. We've talked about South Florida enough. We'll talk about them probably more in here in a second. But with Virginia and Louisville, can either of them like get to that level of, Georgia Tech? Because I mean, Louisville did beat Miami, and hasn't lost a game at home yet.
I mean, Virginia, we talk about Georgia Tech schedule. Virginia Tech or Virginia's might be easier. Like you have remaining, you're at North Carolina, at Cal, home for Wake Forest, at Duke, and home for the rivalry game against Virginia Tech. Brother, that
Duke's
is,
the Duke and Cal are the two best teams you play.
and that's not saying a whole hell of a lot, man. Like that, those I don't think either of those teams are particularly special. And yeah, I don't know. I still don't know if I trust Chandler Morris. Like I've seen a lot of Chandler Morris. He's been around for a hot minute. I don't know if I trust him to get, Virginia to that level. But I mean, it's definitely doable if he's able to maintain some consistency.
No, be more Kinchla and not Bang. That's what you need to
Yeah.
do.
And in the case of Louisville, I just I worry that Louisville isn't necessarily talented enough. I understand that they beat Miami. Miami did a lot of beating itself, man.
Yeah.
And like I'm not trying to discredit Louisville because they did their part. Miller Moss played very well in that game, but Miller Moss has also not looked great for a lot of this season either. And like I think that might have been the Jeff Brom special of Jeff Brom getting his guys up and then having the perfect storm of the other team, pissing down their leg.
Miller Moss made some big plays. Miller Moss also left a lot on the table.
Hmm.
Louisville's always got defensive backs. That's just kind of what they do. They're kind of DBU of the ACC, sort of.
Yeah, 100%. DBU light.
I guess two thoughts about Louisville. I had no idea that Jeff Brom and Brian Brom were like 14 years age separated. Didn't know that. I think they're like closer brother-wise.
Yeah, I'm just finding this out right now. I had no idea either.
So they said Jeff Brom graduated from Louisville in the class of '93. And I'm like, because there's the famous video of him playing the XFL.
Right, 100%.
And I thought like I kept thinking it was Brian Brom who played at Louisville when we were growing up, like in the mid 2000s. So it's like
Yeah, it does make sense, but
it's like
I just never computed.
no, it's like what David and Derek Carr, like an HD gap,
Yeah, 100%. Like a full generation. Whatever the opposite of an Irish twin is, like that's what it is.
cicada twin.
That's right. Yeah, cicada twin. I love it.
There's also a term for that, but we're not gonna like say that because it's politically incorrect.
Correct.
Also, Chris Bell, wide receiver for Louisville, is unbelievable. That guy's gonna be an NFL star.
100%. He's I know he's not your favorite, but someone was tweeting out Chris Bell highlights and Benjamin Solak just tweeted out the eye emojis because he's like, "Oh my God."
Maybe he gets that pass when Josh Allen's throwing it, looking the complete other direction because it's bad.
100%. We're just, just hitting eggs here.
Yeah, I just hit next, and then let's almost get out of here at the last five. It's like Texas, Illinois, and Michigan won't go away. Neither will Arizona State. Welcome to the party, Cincinnati. I guess Scott Satterfield's not getting fired, so that's great for the land of Skyline Chili.
Yeah, Skyline Chili is stock up, get your stock options in there. Yeah, I mean I did not see this coming from Cincinnati, but Satterfield's doing a hell of a job. Sorsby's playing extremely well. Love to see that. And you talk about these teams that are going well. Like I think Texas is going to go away eventually, man. You
Yeah.
almost lost on like another one that I almost called was I said Kentucky was a trouble spot for Texas going on the road after Red River, and sure enough, you're going into overtime, scoring 16 points. Arch Manning looked like he reverted back to what we saw early in the season. It was not pretty at all.
We talk about like why there's so many night games in Lexington. That's a hard place to play. It's really
Hmm.
spooky there at night in at Kroger Field. It's like being at Kroger at night. It's a scary
It's
place.
it's spooky season, baby, and there's no place spookier than the big checkout line. Like,
Instead of getting 10 items or less, let's go 12 items or less, or 16 items or less. Let's move on to playoffs. You kidding me? Our 12 team brackets at first four out through week 8 here. I think we'll probably have a lot of stuff. I feel pretty confident that we'll have a lot of matching once
yeah,
here.
100%. I think when we get towards the bottom, we might have some differentiation, but yeah, I think on the whole, it's still going to be probably very similar.
Okay. I, th Maybe just to save time, I think we probably have the same four teams getting first round buys right now, maybe.
Potentially, we might have one different because I'm doing a little projecting on mine, but we probably have one different.
All right. Number one seed for me is Ohio State.
Yeah, that one's it. We don't need to exhaust too much oxygen on that. They're really good and they don't play anybody for the rest of the year. They play Michigan. Good job.
Julian Sand kind of had like a Heisman, like that's his
Mhm.
Heisman. Wisconsin's awful, but he looked really good.
Yeah, 100%.
Two, I've got Indiana,
I also have, oh no, wait, I'm sorry. I have Alabama at 2, Indiana at 3.
and I have Alabama at 3.
Yeah, and that's partially projection, like just because if we're getting Indiana and Ohio State and Indianapolis, I'm probably taking Ohio State in that game. Indiana's still going to get a top 4 seed, but they're probably not going to get the 2 seed.
Yeah, I think if you win the SEC, you're going to get a top two seed pretty much. And I would
Yeah,
say Alabama's kind of in control of that, but Indiana hasn't lost yet. So four, I've got Texas A&M. Who do you have it for?
I have Georgia at 4, and that's
And
that's
I
that's the one I thought we were going to differ on.
and I have Georgia at 5.
And I have Texas A&M at 5. So like I think Georgia's a better team than Texas A&M. Is really what it boils down to.
Uh, Texas A&M is a much better watch right now. Georgia is an incredibly frustrating watch, but
You also don't have to watch Texas A&M with the personal stress. That probably plays into it a little
that's certainly true.
bit.
Look, Gunnar Stockton, Marcel Reed are Heisman candidates. I don't necessarily know if either of them are on our ballots today. They might be, but like the odds are good if they keep winning, they'll be there. Well-coached, defensive-minded head coaches, Kirby Smart, Mike Elko. You've got an offensive coordinator who can be frustrating at times, but usually makes it work in Bobo and Colin Klein.
Mhm.
A lot of similarities here. I think you're right, though. Georgia's got a little bit more pedigree here.
Yeah, I just, if you put the two teams on a neutral field right now, I'm taking Georgia. That's where I come down on it.
Yes. Oh my God, it's early. I can't think.
You're good, brother.
6. We might be a little bit different here. Who do you have at 6?
I have Oregon at 6. I still believe that the Ducks aren't dead quite yet, especially with, well, they're going to be looking dead with I don't know if you saw the Grateful Dead uniforms that they dropped for this upcoming week, but I don't think the Ducks are dead by any stretch of the imagination.
I've got them a little bit later, but they're comfortably in, so I'll touch on them here in a bit. I mean, maybe I can explain kind of why I've got 6, 7, 8 the way I do. At 6, I've got Miami.
Okay, I have Miami at 7, so we're not too far out of lockstep there.
Even though Miami's loss was bad, Louisville's a good team. I mean, they're ranked. I just think Miami has shown an ability to beat teams of quality,
Mhm.
whereas Oregon has not. They've beaten up on expired tomato cans that are like rattling around at the floor at a ransacked Aldi.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm right there with you. And like I kind of alluded to it earlier. I still think Miami wins the ACC, man. Like no disrespect meant to Georgia Tech. I just think that Miami is the better football team.
That's kind of why I've got them higher up there at 6. So you've got Miami at 7,
Hmm.
and 7 for me is Ole Miss, and I
Okay.
have Oregon at 8. I think Ole
Okay. So we
Miss.
have the same 6, 7, 8 because I have Ole Miss at 8. So we're right. We're still kind of just shuffling around the deck a little bit.
I just think that Ole Miss, like, in the win over LSU means more than what Oregon's done at this point.
Yeah, 100%. What has Oregon done to this point?
Gotten a lot of bad coaches fired. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. I was so all into Oregon. Like, once like we got to like week 2, I'm like, oh, they're so good. And then I got back to like, you're still Oregon, and I still feel the same way about you. I fell for it, man.
And I will say this, like, Ole Miss might have a cakewalk of an SEC schedule, but they still have a pretty dominant win over Tulane to their credit, and Tulane is still
Yeah,
knocking on the door of the top 25. By the time we get to the college football playoff ranking season, like that could be another ranked win on the resume, which I don't think people are truly considering at this point.
yeah. Oregon's like you're banking on like a couple of big wins. Oh, the Penn State win. Penn State's actually ass.
Yeah, they're dog water. Shouts Iowa though, getting a big win.
Yes, Iowa can score more than three times in a game, man, in back-to-back weeks.
Unbelievable.
Uh,
Talk about history being made.
I mean, Iowa's only losses are like by combined like 5 points. Like they lost barely to Indiana and they lost to somebody else. No,
Iowa State.
yeah. So okay, two really quality
Yeah,
teams.
you haven't lost to a bad team yet, Iowa.
All right. We may have the same collection of teams potentially 9 through 12. At 9, give me Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's at
Yes,
10.
sir. We're anchoring down at number 9, baby.
I just think this is a really good football team. This is
Mhm.
I'm really glad Georgia doesn't play Vanderbilt. Shout out to Vandy getting a game day.
Oh, dude, it's so sick. And like, I mean, I think that, this isn't when you think about Vanderbilt, like it even to me, like as someone who has been in on this since they hired Clark Lee, since they hired Barton Simmons, like you and I have been championing this, like this is the right way to build the Vanderbilt program. And even with that, it still feels weird to have them in a college football playoff projection. But at the same time, you beat LSU for the first time in nearly 50 years, and your fans didn't rush the field. Like
Yeah,
this is a complete culture change that we've seen in Nashville, and it's really cool to watch.
that's why I'm not a fan of rushing the field in general. Like my team is good. We beat people. Like if we were to beat Alabama, I mean maybe we would do it because we just don't ever do it. But also there's hedges there, and that's why Georgia's dude. You want to get impaled by a there's also a chain link fence in between the hedges.
Double impales. Let's go.
First big stadium. I just watching that game very closely. It's coming together. It looks like a really nice place to play. Like
Hmm.
Vanderbilt, I don't think Vanderbilt's going to go away. This is really good.
Yeah, 100%. As long as Clark Lee's there, they're in good hands.
They're in good hands. The All-State of the
That's
SEC.
right.
10. I've got Georgia Tech.
Okay, I have BYU at 10. Just trying to figure like we got to get a Big 12 champion in here, and BYU is the front runner right now, and that's like, but I could literally just put Big 12 champion X right there, and that's who it is.
I have BYU at 11.
Okay,
So
I do not have Georgia Tech in my playoff field. I'm sticking with what I said. I have Notre Dame in the 11 seed. I You beat USC, man, and it's pretty smooth sailing from here.
Notre Dame is my first team out.
Yeah, Georgia Tech is my first team out, but the way I'm projecting Georgia Tech is I think they lose clean old-fashioned hate, and then I think you go into the ACC championship game, even if you were to do that at 11-1, and you lose to Miami. I think that the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, if that were to happen, they really probably don't want Georgia Tech to be in there if I'm putting on my conspiracy, cap for you. And more importantly, it's kind of a hard sell to put a team that just lost their last 2 games into the College Football Playoff.
Yeah, because you kind of, and then that wasn't even the case with SMU last year. They almost won the ACC championship, and
Yeah.
you're looking at essentially a repeat of that.
Yeah, 100%. And like they saw how that worked out for SMU, and it wasn't pretty. Like you
No,
ended up with Penn State in one of your semifinals because of it.
yeah, ruined a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Uh,
Namely James Franklin. You ruined James Franklin's life.
It's okay. That man just is a canned process, spitting quote take. He doesn't game day. He's like, I don't have any shame. I'm here.
That's right.
Honestly, make him the effing guest picker at Vanderbilt
Oh my God. That would be the funniest possible thing.
because it's not going to be a VU alum or somebody with VU ties because like they put Jelly Roll in Athens. He's a Tennessee fan. They put what Theo Vaughn in Alabama. He's an LSU fan. They don't care.
I'll give Jelly Roll some credit though. He was better on game day than I expected him to be. Like he was at least like somewhat bought in and like entertaining about it.
So it's not going to be somebody from Nashville or something. Who would be the most hilarious person to have be the guest picker from Vanderbilt, Missouri?
Vanderbilt, Missouri. Let's get like you got to get someone like I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like random SEC guys that did not like have neither ties to either school. Like someone from like who also has Tennessee ties, like Peyton Manning. Like make Peyton Manning the guest picker.
John F. and Daly, let's go.
Let's go.
He's like, all I do is fucking drink and smoke on the set.
Or no, get Steve Spurrier out there.
Yes. It'll probably end up being Nate Bargatze, to be
Oh yeah,
honest with you.
100%.
So, and then I would venture to guess I've got South Florida's my Group 5 winner.
100%. Yeah. The loss from Memphis last week was big for them. But we'll definitely find out more about the American this week with USF Memphis coming up.
Shout out to Alex Mortensen getting a big win as the interim.
100%. Yeah, we love to see that.
Yeah. So my first four out are Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, and Missouri.
So my first four out are Georgia Tech, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Missouri. So pretty similar, just swapping Georgia Tech and Notre Dame there.
All right, let's do our matchups here. So I've got Ohio State, Indiana, Alabama, and Texas on buys. Georgia is hosting South Florida. Yeah, that's gonna be wet.
Yeah, I think it'd be safe there.
Miami hosting BYU. Convicts versus Mormons.
That's right.
Uh, that actually is a pretty good game.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good game. Knocking on the doors in South Florida.
Ole Miss hosting Georgia Tech in the 7-10. That just screams 1950s.
Oh, that streams 1 p.m. Eastern Start Time. Let me assure you of that.
100%. And then Vanderbilt going to Liquid Sunshine and playing in Austin.
Golly. Diego Pavia and Autzen. Let's go. I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Uh,
Uh,
he'll bring back Steve Prefontaine from the grave and it'll win.
that's right.
All right. What's your matchups?
So I have Ohio State, Alabama, Indiana, and Georgia getting the buys. I have in the 5-12 Texas A&M hosting USF. Again, sorry, Bulls. I think that's, the Aggies rolling through there. I have Oregon hosting Notre Dame. That'd be a fun game. Notre Dame going to Autzen. Would love to see that. I also have Miami BYU just on the 7-10 line instead of the 6-11. And then Ole Miss hosting Vanderbilt in a little SEC clash there, which I think would be a lot of fun, especially since we think Vanderbilt's probably the better team in that matchup.
And like the SEC looks stupid. They got rid of that rivalry. Like that would have been great now.
Yeah, 100, and
Why, why,
bringing it back for the playoff would be sick, though.
that would be sick. Lane versus Pavia too.
I mean, talk about a content bonanza. That the leading up to that game, we would be not short on anything to write about. That's for sure.
And speaking about content bonanzas, that's what happens when you're coming to somebody's house live from Eric Couch's couch.
Yes, sir.
Our projected three-man Heisman Trophy ballots at, I guess, the halfway point of the season. It's always the halfway point until we get to like
It's a
Thursday.
halfway point for a month, bro. Like the entire
Yeah,
month of
it's
October.
all right. And I have Diego Pavia as my number three.
I do too, baby. Let's go. I mean, you've got to give him some credit, man. Like I feel like I'm worried that he's not going to get the credit he deserves because it's not a conventional stat line. I mean, it's
No,
impressive. Like there's still the number, like especially in terms of like touchdowns, like numbers are there, but it's not a conventional stat line because it is such a rushing based offense and he doesn't throw the ball quite as much as, I'm assuming the other two guys we have on our ballots. But like it
yeah.
is. I mean, he's taken Vanderbilt to the college football playoff at this point, and like you have to reward that. And like he is the engine that drives that thing.
Look, I get the Heisman wrong all the time. I'm always a sucker for narrative. I don't really care less about stats. I mean, I think the narrative is just slightly stronger for Pavia over Gunner Stockton, who are kind of playing similarly. They both lost to Alabama, but not by much. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And like I don't have Julian Sand would be fourth on my ballot. I do not have him in there. I still think he has a really ch real chance of winning the Heisman Trophy. I'm not ruling him out for that by any stretch of the imagination at this point in the season. But like Julian Sand gets to run Ohio State's offense with Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith and Bo Jackson and everyone that they have in that offense. And Diego Pavia, yes, he has talent around him, but it's also if Diego Pavia doesn't play well, Vanderbilt doesn't play well.
Yeah, Alexander's a phenomenal back, and we know Eli Stowers is the best tight end in college football right now.
Yeah,
So although Claire's really good for Ohio State, and Lawson Lucky had 3 touchdowns. So,
that's right, baby.
yeah, Sam would be four for me as
Yeah.
well. Two, Ty Simpson.
Much to my chagrin, because I'm eating a hell of a lot of crow, Ty Simpson is also at number two for me. Yeah, he didn't even play that well this week, and he still played well, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
it was one of those things where it was probably the worst game we've seen from Ty Simpson in a month, and it was still a damn good game. You still blew Tennessee out. So like, and like, you can say what you want about Tennessee. I think the biggest problem in this game was kind of to your point that you always make, like Kalen DeBoer and his staff were ready for the Josh Heupel offense. Like that's really what it looked like. But Tennessee defense is still legitimate. The Tennessee defense is still a tough nut to crack, and Ty Simpson still acquitted himself very well.
yes. The Josh Heupel offense, honestly, it's also like clockwork. Your Joey Aguilar complained like he's gonna throw a pick,
Yeah.
and terrible game-changing pick that basically put the Vols behind the eight ball for the rest of the game.
100%. And might want to get the offense into some tackling practice because there are going to be more interceptions, and that was awful.
Or I want to see Joey just try to tackle like Dan Marino's and just walks to the sidelines. Like that's not my job.
Ryan Williams had a better chance of tackling that kid than anyone else because he was running down the sidelines with them.
That's the only way it would have stopped is if Ryan Williams ran on the field because
That's what I'm saying, man.
cousin Ryan he's just a perpetual sugar high the whole time.
He really is.
And then number one, Fernando.
Fernando. Yeah, dude. Fernando Mendoza. There's not a whole lot to say about Fernando. He's truly played almost perfect football for 6 weeks now at this point. Like the first game of the season, it was kind of like, oh, is this going to work out? It wasn't. The Indiana offense didn't quite look the way even it did last year with Curtis Rourke. And then since then, he's just had his foot on the gas. And more importantly, when we talk about the marriage of narrative and stats, which is kind of how I try to look at the Heisman Trophy, the marriage of narrative and stats is he's leading Indiana probably to an undefeated season, which is just unheard of because we're talking about the Indiana freaking Hoosiers. And on top of that, Kurt Cignetti has no problem letting him run it up on everybody and put up ridiculous numbers.
I think Coach Sig wants Fernando to win like the Davy O'Brien, the Maxwell, the Heisman. I think he also wants to get Elijah Surratt, the Blitnikoff, which
Hmm.
might be he's up there. I would
Yeah, he's
say
got to be close
like
to it. I can
I
see if I
don't
can find it real quick. Well, if you'll vamp
yeah,
for a second.
like we talked about Chris Bell being a phenomenal receiver for Louisville,
Mhm.
but he's a kind of a class behind that. I think Jeremy Bernard's been phenomenal for Alabama throughout the duration. We obviously know that Jeremiah Smith's really good, but like in a way, like it's not been the same season for him. It just the narrative's changed. Like we're just not talking about him as much because Ohio State's not really playing anybody.
Yeah, 100%. And hold on, we've got some Bolitnikov odds. Let's see. Let's see. Are these
Look at you.
preseason or are these now? These are updated. Let's go. Elijah Surratt is third in odds behind, which I don't agree with this, but he's probably going to win it just based on name. Jeremiah Smith is still the favorite. Jeremiah
Yeah,
Smith's had a good season, but Carnell Tate's has equally as good a season, so I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. And then the guy who I think is probably the rightful favorite right now, Makai Lemon at
yeah.
USC. Makai Lemon's been awesome, so
McClellan's
I
been
can't
good
argue
too.
with that.
Yeah, it's not just Jade Maeva at USC. So Lemon's been fantastic. I mean, Ahmad Hardy's been running the ball really well there for what I
Hmm.
think Mizzou, I think.
Yeah,
So yeah,
100%.
these new names that we're learning about, that's the problem. We fall in love with players and we want to see them go and forget how other people do. Just Lenora Sellers, Mike Shula. I don't know. You should sell your last name like that. That car commercial is like auto parts team, whatever it is. Just like I don't
Hey,
know.
all I know is Lenora Sellers and Blacksburg next year is going to hit like crack. Like it's going to be great.
The whole reason this guy has a job is because his dad and his mom loved each other
Yeah, that's
at
right.
one point in time. Oh God. And then So yeah, Sand was would be four for me, Stockton to be five.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat right there. Stockton, like I said, is just he's a hell of a college football quarterback, man. He's not an NFL prospect. He's not gonna light up the stat sheet, but he's Shane Falco. I want the ball in his hand when the game's on the line.
Well, he's got another year of eligibility, so he might
Hmm.
be able to make himself that with 2 years worth of starts potentially.
Absolutely.
Because you know, who really knows? Like, who thought Bo Nix was like going to be a first round pick, and he was. And
There's
then
that.
Jackson Dart, oh my God, just continues to make some of the most moronic decisions of all time. So talented, but so dumb.
So talented, so dumb, but not as dumb as his head coach, and that's the biggest problem with the Giants there. Shouts to the
Yeah,
prevent defense, which has literally never worked.
it never worked, not even one time. All right, let's move on to our penultimate topic here with some this or that. I've got the spinner, so this is going to be so cool. It did not work out last time I did this without you on the show. I got a bunch of really weird matchups. So what we're going to do is six pairs, and we're going to just talk basically about what team we like the vibes more of.
Hmm.
Let's start. First spin, we got the Buffalo Bulls
Oh, baby.
going up against the Nevada Wolfpack. It's a pretty good
Buff
one, actually.
We're
Buffalo.
going Buffalo Bulls though, baby. You got the big win. Did you happen to see the end of the Buffalo UMass game? Like what the
I,
hell happened there?
I was following along with that. UMass was almost trying to stave off being eliminated from bowl eligibility, and Buffalo and Pete Limbo, they just figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, like UMass got an interception with like a minute left in the game, and yes, Buffalo had their timeouts, but I still don't know how you win that game when you were down by a point. And you scored a touchdown. You didn't kick a game-winning field goal. You scored a touchdown.
Pete Limbo's changed the game there in Western New
That's
York.
right. And the vibes in Nevada are not great right now, so there's
No,
that.
no, not at all.
And
Uh,
they're feeling residual heat from Jay Norvell getting fired as well.
Maybe the vibes are better because Jay Norvell got fired in
It's true.
retrospect.
It's true. It's true.
We wasn't trying to play in this first team's your North Carolina Tar Heels.
Oh crap. Uh-huh.
So, so by default, whoever's next, oh God, the Colorado Buffaloes.
That's
No.
not a great vibes party here. This is more like a funeral if we're being honest. But I mean, somehow the answer is still Colorado,
It's
but like
unbelievable.
it's not like hot. Like you're not feeling great, but like the answer is definitely still like there's not a North Carolina fan in my sphere who like is happy with where things are right now. Like it is just atrocious vibes right now. You
I
almost
think,
came back and beat Cal and you fumble on the 1 yard line. Like let's add just complete like to the complete incompetence that we've seen this entire season. Let's also add just a brutal error and like heartbreaking loss at Cal after you're staying up until what, like 1 a.m. on the East Coast to watch that game.
I mean, we are living in a simulation, and we are doing a simulation on Thursday's episode. But like, you've got North Carolina playing a conference game at Cal on a Friday at 10:30, where you lose that way with Bill Belichick coaching the Tar Heels. This is so ridiculous.
Life's not great, man. Life's not great.
Life's not great. Life is stranger than fiction. Okay, round number three, or pair number three. We've got the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors
Mm.
going up against the Temple Owls. And look, Temple's having a good season
Hmm.
there. What's their head coach is at Sam Houston. I'm blanking on his name. He's like in his mid 60s, but it's Hawaii. Hawaii's going bowling, dude.
Yeah, you got to go Hawaii, but the vibes aren't bad at Temple. This is probably the highest vibe pairing that we have so far. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean like and Temple a couple weeks ago, probably should have won. Like their record probably should be better than this, and it's not a team I want to play in the American. I think they are a team that can definitely cause some chaos there.
yeah. Casey Keeler has Temple
Yeah,
4-3 overall, 2-1 in American play. Temple's going to get somebody of significance in American play.
100%. Would not shock me if they took down Tulane or a USF or someone of that caliber.
Yeah, they could be Navy maybe if they play
Yeah.
them. I don't know. Maybe they lost them. No, they did lose to Navy. They almost beat Navy.
Yeah, that was the that you're refreshing my memory. That's who I was referring to. They probably should have won that game. There was
Yeah,
some tomfoolery from the men in stripes there at the end of the game.
anchor down, brother, or hoorah, or whatever. I don't know what they say. Maybe I'm
I
not
have
even
no
disrespectful.
idea. Ride boats.
Ride, ride boats. Could you imagine that's their sign? It's like ride boats, and
Then the
then
Coast Guard's like, "What the hell, man?"
Air Forces fly jets.
Yeah. This
Army's like shoot them or bomb them or something.
this is why they don't put me and you in charge of these
No.
things.
All right, spin number four. These have been good so far.
Oh
A
yeah.
very just no game fighting Irish.
Oh.
Watch us get Arkansas here or South Carolina. Um, rivalry game, Boston College. Absolutely Notre Dame.
Yeah, oh, it's Notre Dame by a lot. As I mentioned on last week's show that I appeared on, cover three is not wrong referring to them as booty cheeks because that's what they are, man.
I was going to mention this maybe when we were talking about coaches who are in the hot seat, but like obviously the change with Napier getting fired and Jay Norvell being out and Mike Norvell being on the fence. We talked about Bill O'Brien being really bad
Mhm.
fit. It doesn't look like it's working out for Jonathan Smith and East Lansing either.
No, God, no, no. It looks like it's going pretty damn poorly. And with a quickness, yeah, I think you got to get like I. It wouldn't be surprising to me if we see Jonathan Smith out, which I would be surprising if you told me that 2 years ago. That's for sure. I thought this was going to work.
Ooh, Charles, things are gonna get easier. Maybe not.
Mm. Hey, go back to Oregon State. You had a good thing going.
Honestly, do it. Whatever. You get the Pac-12 again. It's fine. I think you'll
Yeah, you'll be fine.
find out. All right, spin number five. Man, this is gonna be. It's weird. Like the sun's up now. Speaking of Michigan State, their big rival, Indiana,
Ooh, okay.
and the next one up for this, not the other side of Spittoon. We've got UCF.
It's Indiana, man. Vibes could not be better in Bloomington. Uh,
Vibes are good in Orlando, but vibes could not be better in Bloomington.
Yeah, you said Indiana, and I was like, I honestly like truly, I think you could put vibes wise, you could put Indiana against any other FBS team, and I'm probably still taking Indiana. Like, who has better vibes than Indiana Hoosiers right now? Like Ohio State, sure, they're probably just as good. They might be better than Indiana, but at the end of the day, like this is the expectation at Ohio State. This is not the expectation at Indiana.
Like I think the vibes of the six teams that are still undefeated, I think the vibes are better in Indiana than in Ohio State. Probably better than they are at Texas A&M. Maybe better than they are at BYU or Georgia Tech. Maybe Vanderbilt, but like yeah, getting Indiana, it's like everybody's gonna have a better vibe. Nobody's gonna have a better vibe than them.
Yeah, 100%. They're vibe kings right now.
They are vibing here. All right, and let's move on to our last pair for the six pack. Even though it's two for 12 pack, we're just getting drunk on these teams.
That's right.
Virginia Tech.
Oh God, you need to get drunk if you're watching the Hokies.
But certainly need to. We've already got Buffalo, so we got to spin it again.
Okay, okay, spin it again. I mean, I would take Buffalo in that matchup if we're being clear.
Virginia Tech versus Arkansas.
Oh God, okay, now we made it difficult.
Yeah, this is the hardest one yet.
I would probably lean Virginia Tech just because like there is the like whether misguided or not, there is the hope of Beaver Ball returning to Blacksburg right now. Whereas Arkansas, you got Bobby Petrino coaching your football team right now. Like that's a thing that's currently happening.
And it's not like the Hokies have like come up dead under Philip Montgomery. Like they
Yeah.
played decently. Just the 0-3 hole is just so much. I mean, Taylor Green's is better than Kyron Drones, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I think Arkansas is the better football team, but like I don't think anyone in Arkansas is happy right now. I'll actually, you know what? I might change my answer because hunting season is, afoot in Fayetteville, so every Arkansas fan is probably feeling good because they can go hunting and they don't have to watch this damn team.
that's true. Pigs get fed and hogs get slaughtered here.
That's right.
You're doing it this time because I did it last time by
That's good.
myself. We're gonna move on to our final topic with some pour one out and bowling, 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 bowling. Also, rest in peace to Sam Rivers, who passed away over this weekend.
Yeah.
Longtime bass player there for Limp Bizkit. He's the guy that kind of kept the entire thing together with, Fred Durst's antics and also Wes Borland's antics.
Yeah. Just a lot of antics all around. Yeah, no, RIP there and not related at all, but also RIP to Doug Martin. I didn't expect that news to
Yeah,
come down yesterday. That's hella sad. That was a fun football player, man. Boise State and in Tampa.
yeah. Our peer passed away at 36 years old.
Hmm.
I saw Gerald McCoy said I've lost five teammates now.
That's brutal, man. That's
Yeah,
absolutely brutal.
I'm not. I tried to like think about like who it was, and obviously it took me down a really dark place, so I
Yeah,
stopped doing that.
100%.
Um, like Doug Martin is probably the best player to ever come out of Boise State. Like him and DeMarcus Lawrence are like probably like the two guys who just they cut through in the NFL in a way. Kellen Moore too, but more kind of as a coach.
Yeah, 100%. He was a career backup there for a while.
I know. Just that's really tough there. But yeah, pour one out. We have to cross two more teams off this week who are not going bowling, bowling, bowling. We got rid of the Oregon State Beavers last week. We got to pour one out for the Sam Houston Bearcats. Casey Keeler leaving for Temple was a bad sign. Like leaving Texas for Philadelphia, unless like you're going from Dallas to Philadelphia to go play an NFC East game.
That's
It's
right.
not really good. Phil Longo, utter disaster.
Mhm.
And honestly, the Wisconsin offense has got worse since he left under Jeff Grimes, but like Phil Longo, just the worst hire by far of this past cycle.
Uh, Completely unqualified as a head coach, quite frankly. It was a strange hire to begin with, and like I understand you're Sam Houston, but even still, I felt like you could have done a lot better than what you did there.
Like 2 years ago, they were like this bad. And they had like a really good because they were moving up from Division Two.
Hmm.
They were of quality last year. And like I remember they had like 0.1% chance to make the playoff like down to like the
Hmm.
final week or something.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, Casey Keeler was, who made them an FCS power, and you're moving on from that, and that's a tough spot if you're Sam Houston.
And we also got to pour one out for the UMass Minutemen. Joe Harrisimiak leaving Rutgers, I believe. Has
Hmm.
hurt both programs. Rutgers is kind of toiling away right now there in the Big Ten. Not very good. May or may not get to a bowl game. And then UMass is not because they're 0-7. Lost a game you should have won over Buffalo.
Hmm.
Um, UMass continues to be the worst team in the country along with Kent State. They are in the MAC now, and they're back in the MAC, and I don't know if they wish they were. I think they just want to go crawl in a hole and cancel football altogether.
100%. Yeah. El Assico might have a new home, and it's going to be Kent State, UMass, and the MAC.
Just UMass, Kent State. There's Elasa coach ass.
That should be an off-season project is TIN 10 for the best El Assico. It's the worst conference matchups we could come up with.
We do that on June 9th too.
That's right.
All right, we got a bunch of teams that are going bowling. So this is like the third week in a row we've had teams. Memphis was the first to get in
Mhm.
2 weeks ago, about six or so last week. All right. Your Alabama Crimson Tide pick six Joey Aguilar the end zone to win third Saturday, October. Smoke him if you got him because the Crimson Tide are going.
Bowling, 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 bowling.
Yes. Um, Against all odds, Scott Satterfield and Dante Corleone and Brad Sorsby, they're eating a lot of Skyline chili because the Bearcats are going
Bowling?
bowling. I don't know. Um, I don't know if Glenn Schumann can do anything. I don't think he can tie his shoes, but like Mike Bobo was in his bag. Georgia beats Ole Miss because the dogs are going
Bowling, 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 bowling.
bowling. uh, Most frustrating 6-1 team. That's really good.
That's right.
Um, Mentioned them already there with this or that. The Fighting Timmy Changs of the Big Island or one of the islands over there, Oahu. The Hawaii Rainbow Warriors are going.
Rain bowling, 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 bowling.
Yeah. Hawaii is fun again. This is great. Um, We call this one. Doesn't matter if Connor Wegman's their quarterback or on their roster. Willie Fritz is a damn good head coach. U of H, the Houston Cougars are going.
Bowling, 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 bowling.
Yes. A team that might actually potentially win the group of five, the best team
Mhm.
right now, I think, in the Sun Belt. Tommy Calamari, eat your heart out because the Yankees will always disappoint you, but your James Madison Dukes never will because they are going.
Bowling, 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 bowling.
Yes.
My voice is already shot from this weekend, so I'm not gonna be able to speak tomorrow.
That's fine. And if this team would have lost down to the points to Auburn, they wouldn't be doing that. But the Missouri Tigers are going to dig through the ditches and burn through the witches, and they slam the back of their Bopribula because the Missouri Tigers are going.
Bowling, 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 bowling.
Yes. A very angry shade of green, the North Texas main green, flying under the radar, looking really good there in the American under Eric Morris because the mean green are going.
Bowling, 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 bowling.
John Mateer doesn't have a hand anymore, but Oklahoma is still winning games. Brent Venables still might get fired anyway, but the Oklahoma Sooners are in and around the top 15, and they are going.
Bowling, 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 bowling. Even though John Mateer can't bowl right now because he's using a club.
He just play volleyball.
That's right.
I didn't even think about it. He can't go bowling. He has to go with his other hand.
Yeah, that's right.
He's probably athletic enough to still bowl like a 150.
Oh yeah, he could probably still beat me. I'm awful at bowling.
You
Awful.
throw really hard. You're Pedro out there in the
Yeah, yeah. I
lands.
mean, look, I'm out here trying to be Mason Miller and nothing else.
That's what it's all about, brother. Uh, the Oregon Ducks beat the absolute snot out of Rutgers. They only beat up tomato cans. Dan Lanning literally flashes rib tat at the fans.
Because they're going bowling, 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 bowling.
Unbelievable. Alex Golesh, the Heupel disciple, South Florida Bulls are going.
Bowling, 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 bowling.
John Summerall made himself a lot of money this week, and particularly with Billy Napier getting fired. The Tulane Green Wave are still a really good football team, and they are going.
Bowling, 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 bowling.
All right, only two more. The Live Dog, Clark Lee, Diego Pavia. Vanderbilt is effing turn. Game day is in Nashville because the Commodores are going.
Bowling, 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 bowling.
And you can say this really meanly if you want to. You hate this team. But Tony Elliott's keeping his job. Chandler Morris is still in college. This is the best Virginia's looked since Chris Long played there or Matt Schaub. Virginia Cavaliers are going.
Begrudgingly. Bowling, 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 bowling.
Damn right. And this was episode 219 of Fall Start. You can follow me, John Buhler, on Twitter or the X at Buhler118. You can follow Cody Williams at the Sizzle20. You can follow the show at CFB Fall Start. Like, rate, listen, subscribe, review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere there's podcasts. Give us a 5-star review. Really helps the show grow. You got any wedding stories here? I had something that absolutely ridiculously happened to me on Thursday.
So we had a little welcome party on Friday night, and I got the nickname the Drunk Reverend because a lot of tequila shots involved, and did not work out well for me. I might have missed some Saturday morning festivities because of it.
The best part is Cody in Spanish is still Cody.
That's right. That's right. That it's always fun. So like I knew it was one of my childhood best friends getting married. Congrats to Jacob and Catherine. Very happy for you guys. But I hadn't met a lot of Catherine's family previously, and so like I met a lot of new people this weekend. And whenever I meet new people, I get every iteration of my name possible. That's Corey, that's Kobe, that's Toby. You get all of them. And so I've been called so many things that were not Cody this weekend, and that's just where we're at.
With all that tequila, you went from Cody Scott Williams to Cody Scott Guillermo's.
That's right.
Cody Guillermo.
That's right.
uh, no, my God. So we're dog sitting because that's what we do. We were going down to Cabbage Town with Banjo and Luna.
Mhm.
They really like us. We got our days mixed up, like the fantasy night guy. Um, so I had to go there on Thursday to go like check it. My car doesn't really work right now. Rosemary took hers to work, so I took the scooter on the belt line there.
Mhm.
Um, granted, it's like a 25 minute scooter ride going 5 miles an hour.
Hell yes.
I show up, I walk into their house, and I'm like, something feels off. Uh, apparently, I went a day early and accidentally being late. Uh,
You know, just your casual accidental B&E. It's
it was,
fine.
I felt it. I'm like, this is, it made me feel really uncomfortable. And I'm like, you got to tell me if I need to go home. So I had like a backpack full. I got like Kansas soup to eat food. I looked very feral at that point. So I went back to Pod City Market and had lunch with her.
There you go. Hey, you saved it. You saved it.
Yeah, my God. It's all about saving things. And if you can't have soup, just hit the microwave, cook something up. Because that's what it's all about. Because this is false start.